If tomorrow I locked your entire trading account for a whole month, you wake up, open your trading screen, but you're not allowed to press a single button. You can only look, only observe. No buy, no sell, no entries, no get it back, no FOMO. Just stare at the chart. 1 day, 2 days, or a whole week? How long could you last? 1 hour, 10 minutes, or just a few seconds? I'm not asking this to joke around. I'm asking because I know that feeling very, very well, that feeling that seems harmless on the surface, but kills more traders than any indicator or pattern ever will. It's that feeling of craving action, that itch in your fingers, that heartbeat speeding up every time price jerks a little, that feeling of, if I don't enter now, I'll miss the move, that feeling of, let me just take a small trade so it doesn't feel so empty. And if you don't learn to control that feeling, it will end up controlling you. I know, because I used to be you. I know, because I used to sit in front of the charts for hours, just trying to find one good enough reason to click the button. I know, because I used to force patterns into places where there were no patterns, just to convince myself, yeah, that looks okay, let's enter small. And I know, because those just for fun trades, those unconscious clicks, took far more from me than I ever want to remember. Let me tell you this. If there's one lesson that has been hammered into my head so many times that I'm sick of remembering it, it's this one. The market doesn't pay you because you do more. It only pays you when you're right. And to be right, you have to learn how to do nothing. Sounds backwards, doesn't it? Sounds completely opposite to everything you were taught growing up. Work more, get more results. Hard work will be rewarded. If you try hard, you will succeed. But trading doesn't follow normal life rules. Trading has its own rules. In trading, doing more is often worse than doing less. In trading, the harder you try, the easier it is for you to destroy yourself. In trading, it's exactly those periods where you don't do anything that determine whether you survive or not. Do you believe that? Maybe right now, a part of you is still fighting that idea. And I get it because I was the same. I used to think, then what am I sitting here for? I'm a trader. Traders are supposed to trade, right? And that exact thought dragged me to rock bottom more times than I can count. You know, the biggest pain for a trader isn't losing. It's knowing you shouldn't take that trade, and taking it anyway. Knowing you're doing the wrong thing, and still doing it. Knowing there is no setup, but still jumping in like a moth flying straight into a light. Let me say this very plainly. No sugarcoating. Losing on a good setup that failed, that's part of the game. But losing on a stupid trade taken just to satisfy that urge to do something, that's what crushes your account. How many times have you looked at the chart and said, whatever, I'll just enter something so I'm at least in the market? How many times have you seen price spike and thought, crap, it's running without me, I need to jump in now? How many times have you told yourself, I'll feel so bad if I don't take this, and then ended up feeling 100 times worse because the trade lost? And the scariest part isn't even those losing trades. The scariest part is you don't learn anything from them. You justify them. You brush them off. You pat yourself on the back and say, next time will be different. But next time, you do the exact same thing again. That's not trading. That's an addiction to action. Have you ever sat in front of the charts, feeling so restless in your body that you had to do something? Have you ever opened your phone over and over just to see price move a tiny bit? Have you ever convinced yourself, this setup is good enough, just so you could press the button and relieve the discomfort? If yes, then you're dealing with the same thing. I used to have an addiction to stimulation from the market. And the market is very good at attacking you exactly there. It knows you can't handle boredom. It knows you hate being on the sidelines. It knows you'll make up reasons to enter. You think the market is just candles and price? No, it's a mirror reflecting your raw instincts. And one of your strongest instincts is the instinct to do something. That is exactly why most traders fail, not because they lack knowledge, not because they lack capital, but because they can't wait. You can be as skilled as you like. You can read charts as well as you want. But if you can't resist the urge to press that button, all that knowledge becomes useless. Let me tell you a harsh but liberating truth. Trading is a game of waiting, not a game of action, not a game of speed, not a game for the fastest clicker. It's a game for the one who can stay patient long enough to only pull the trigger when probability is clearly tilted in their favor. But here's the problem. Waiting is boring. Waiting feels dull. Waiting doesn't feel cool. Waiting doesn't give you dopamine, doesn't give you adrenaline, doesn't give you that feeling of, I'm a real trader. So, what do? You jump into it's okay trades. Those almost a setup trades. Those let's see what happens. Trades. Those small size, it's fine trades. But every time you do that, you're not just losing money. You're losing the most important thing of all. Your ability to go big when the real opportunity finally shows up. I remember one specific time very clearly. I had waited for weeks for a stock to build a proper base. It nudged up a bit, teased, pulled back, pushed again, a whole mess of noise that made a lot of people jump in early and get slapped. But I stayed patient. I knew exactly what I wanted to see. I knew the conditions that had to be there, so I waited. People around me said, "You're missing it, man. It's moving already." But I knew it hadn't really moved yet. This still wasn't my setup. Then one day, everything lined up like an arrow hitting the bullseye. Volume exploded. Price broke out of the consolidation zone. Momentum snapped like a spring. I entered, and that one trade paid more than all those little random trades put together. You know what sent a chill down my spine? I realized if I had FOMO'd into all those meaningless wiggles earlier, by the time the real moment came, I'd have no money left, or no mental capital left to go in big. That moment changed how I saw the market forever. It taught me this. Wealth doesn't come from the number of trades you take. Wealth comes from the number of bad trades you don't take. Because every trade you don't take, if it was a bad trade, is money you are keeping for your future. It's power you're preserving. It's preparation for the right moment. And that right moment is rare. It doesn't show up every day, not every session, sometimes not even every week, sometimes not even every month. But it always comes, and it only rewards the ones who stayed patient long enough to meet it. That's why I say, waiting is not doing nothing. Waiting is the real work of a trader. But this is where 95% of traders collapse. They think waiting means sitting idle. They think staying out means missing out. They think not taking a trade means not making progress. When in reality, it's the opposite. When you're on the sidelines, you're not standing still at all. You're observing. You're taking notes. You're refining your plan. You're sharpening your eye to distinguish noise from signal. You're preparing not with action, but with awareness. And it's that preparation that gives you confidence when the time comes. When you're well prepared, you enter without shaking. You size correctly. You hold your ground. You don't get shaken out by a couple of counter candles. You're not distracted by market noise. You're not hoping, not guessing, not wishing. You're executing. But if you're not prepared, you're always unsure. You enter small, you exit early. You panic when price stalls. You keep asking yourself, is this really the move? You watch the trade run while your mind is filled with fear. You win a bit, then lose much more on the next stupid trades. Not because you're bad, but because you weren't ready. I want you to really understand this. Preparing while you wait is also making money just in an invisible form. You don't see it in your account balance, but you will see it in how you act when the time comes. If you've ever wondered, why can others hold their trades longer, but I can't? The reason is here. They're not stronger than you. They're not smarter than you. They just prepared more than you during those nothing is happening periods. And preparation allows them to trust their plan, you don't. You know what surprised me the most? Not the difference between winners and losers, but the difference between planners and reactors. Planners enter trades with a clear mind. Reactors enter trades with a head full of noise. Planners know what they're doing. Reactors are just trying to catch up with the market. And here's the irony. Planners trade less, but earn more. Reactors trade more, but lose more. The trading world has always been upside down like that. The more you try to prove you're a trader by taking constant action, the more you lose. The more you learn to stand still and wait, the more you win. But to go from reacting to preparing, you have to defeat a very powerful monster, your own impatience. Impatience doesn't come from the market. It comes from inside you. It comes from the feeling that you must do something now. It comes from the fear of missing out. It comes from the way you equate prices moving with opportunity is disappearing. But have you ever asked the opposite question? Is the market really going somewhere? Or is it just my mind running around in circles? Because here's the truth. The market isn't running away. It's just moving. You were the one chasing it. Chasing price is instinct. Letting price come to you, That's skill. I remember when I was younger, I thought good traders were the ones always there at the perfect moment. Like they had a sixth sense whenever the market was about to move, they just knew. I thought they had magic eyes, able to see setups instantly. But when I met real top traders, I was shocked. Most of the time, they did nothing. They sat still. They waited. They watched. They crossed out tons of almost setups. They were like snipers only firing when there was a clean, clear shot. The rest of the time, they stayed out no matter how much the market twitched. I once asked one of them, "Don't you feel bad skipping so many opportunities during the day?" He smiled and said, "The only trades I regret are the ones I took when I wasn't ready. The ones that weren't mine, I let the market keep them." That sentence hit me like a slap in the face. I realized, for years, I'd been feeling regret over things that were never mine to begin with. I regretted waves I never prepared for. I regretted trades I only took to satisfy my need to act. But as you mature in trading, you'll understand. You don't need to catch every wave. You just need to catch your wave. And to do that, you have to learn to let go of what isn't yours. You have to learn to stand aside. You have to learn to let the market go without dragging you along. Standing aside isn't weakness. Standing aside is strength. It means you're clear enough to know what belongs to you and what doesn't. But this is exactly what most traders can't do. Not because they don't know it, but because they can't stand how it feels. The thing that makes you lose is not the losing trade itself. It's that empty feeling in between trades. You want to fill that emptiness with action. You want to feel like you're progressing. You want to feel like a trader. So you think having trades will be doing it right. But the truth is, the more meaningless trades you take, the further you are from doing it right. The more you try to prove you're a trader, the more you resemble a gambler addicted to feelings, not a player in a game of probabilities. I've seen so many people with solid methods and broad knowledge still lose because they can't escape the biggest trap in the market, the dopamine trap. Dopamine makes you love pressing buttons. Dopamine makes you love watching your P&L jump. Dopamine makes you addicted to the feeling of almost rich. And dopamine is what kills you. Meanwhile, survivors are addicted to something else, discipline. They are addicted to the feeling of waiting for the right moment, addicted to clarity, addicted to trades they know they were 100% prepared for. One proper setup brings a deeper satisfaction than any FOMO chase. One trade in real momentum brings more confidence than any lucky win. One perfectly timed trade creates clean profit, no drama, no regret. And that right only comes when you stay out long enough for the market to present you with something real. But what is right exactly? Right is not price moving in the direction you guessed. Right is not you predicting the market. Right is not you feeling that it will go. Right is, this setup matches exactly what I defined beforehand. The conditions have aligned. The probability leans in my favor. Risk is clear. Reward is clear. There's no emotional pressure. There's no internal conflict. Only when you feel that kind of right do you truly understand what a good trade is. All the trades like, "I hate sitting out. Let me enter something for fun." This setup is kind of similar. It should be okay. Those are the trades the market uses to teach you in the most painful way. You think a bad trade is the problem? No. The real problem is the emotional chain reaction after the bad trade. You enter a bad trade, you lose, you get angry, you try to win it back, you lose more, you despair, you increase size to recover, you blow up. It's not the market dragging you there. It's that one stupid trade that pulls you all the way down. I want you to ask yourself honestly, if this week I deleted every trade that wasn't a real setup, what would my account look like? You'll probably be shocked. Because you'll see the truth. You don't lose because you lack winning trades. You lose because you take too many trades you never needed. And the sad part, you could avoid them completely. But you don't because you can't stand staying out. Because you're not used to the feeling of, today the market isn't for me. One of the biggest turning points in my trading, and maybe it will be for you too, was when I could say to myself, today the market is not for me. And that is completely okay. When you can say that, your psychology changes. When your psychology changes, your behavior changes. When your behavior changes, your account changes. You don't need another new indicator. You don't need a more complicated strategy. You don't need to learn 20 more patterns. You just need to master one skill that most traders avoid: the ability to cut out trades that are not yours. Let me tell you this: a good trader is not someone who sees opportunities everywhere. A good trader is someone who sees 100 things and only picks one, and they pick it right, like a sniper. He doesn't shoot at every movement. He waits even longer until the target is perfectly within his scope. No shake, no noise, no ambiguity. You can be a trader, but to become a sniper in the market, you have to master the most painful skill of all: patience to the point where others think you're not doing anything, but you're doing a lot. It's just that no one sees it. You're preparing, you're observing, you're journaling, you're waiting for real signals. And when they come, you strike like thunder. No hesitation, no fear, no trembling, no regret. That's the difference between those who survive and those who burn out. Let me tell you another story, one where you might see yourself. There was a time when I kept losing, not because of my method, but because of my psychology. I traded because I was bored. I traded for the feeling. I traded because I don't want to miss this move. I traded to prove I was right. The result? I lost on trades where, even as I entered, I already knew I shouldn't be in them. One day, I decided to do something crazy. I set a rule: for 1 week, I could take a maximum of 2 trades. Not because I wanted to trade less, but because I wanted to see if I could cut out all the stupid trades. Day 1, I stared at the charts like I'd gone insane. Everything looked like an opportunity. Every little move felt like a big move about to start. I had to fight myself minute by minute. Day 2, my mind started to calm down. I stopped jumping at every little flicker. I observed more. Day 3, I started seeing things I'd never seen before. 90% of what I used to call opportunities was just noise. Day 4, I began to clearly see what a real setup looks like: clean structure, clear levels, real momentum. Day 5, I realized something that shook me. I had wasted years on meaningless trades. Day 6 and 7, I didn't take a single trade, not because there were no moves, but because there were no moves worthy of my bullets. And the best part? My mind felt calm again. I wasn't addicted to the ding of price alerts anymore. I stopped jumping at every big candle. I stopped trying to prove I was a trader by clicking all day. I started to understand. I'm a trader because I can choose not to act when it's not time yet. You see, maturity in trading doesn't come from your first big winning trade. It comes from the first time you truly say no. The first time you reject a blurry opportunity. The first time you stand aside on a hot session. The first time you don't follow the crowd. The first time you choose discipline over emotion. The first time you start trading like an adult. And then one day, when a real setup appears, you'll know. Not through guessing, not through predicting, not through hoping, but through absolute clarity. You'll look at the chart and think, this is my move. And when you press the button, you won't be shaking anymore. You won't be anxious. You won't be scared. You'll just execute the plan. And you'll understand why I keep repeating this sentence that sounds so uncomfortable. Standing aside most of the time is working. I know you used to think standing aside is useless. I know you used to think not trading is a waste of time. I know you used to think money has to be working. Leaving it in the account does nothing. But you need to face one simple truth that very few people want to admit. Cash is not idle money. It's power. Power to choose. Power to say no. Power to wait for the right moment. Only those who have burned their entire capital on stupid trades and then watched a perfect move fly by while they're helpless truly understand this. I've been there. You may have been there. And if you're there right now, I want you to know, this is not the end. It's just a comma before you truly grow up. Trading is not a math game, it's a psychology game. And the very first lesson of trading psychology is this: you must learn how to survive before you learn how to make money. You might laugh, but I'm serious. People don't fail because they can't analyze. They fail because they can't handle the emptiness between trades, that feeling I call the echo of silence. When the market is still, when nothing is happening, when you stare at the screens for hours and can't find a single valid reason to click. That silence is very uncomfortable. It stirs you from within. It makes you think you're lazy, that you're scared, that you're missing out. And because you can't handle that silence, you click. You take a half-baked trade. You play a weak hand. You tell yourself, I'll just go in small. But the market doesn't care whether you go small or big. It only asks one question. Is this a good trade? If the answer is no, it charges you a fee. Sometimes small, sometimes large, but it always charges. And a bad trade doesn't just take your money. It takes your calm. It takes your discipline. It shakes your belief in your own system. It makes it easier for you to take another stupid trade just to get it back. Then a third. And slowly, it devours you. Do you want the brutal truth? One single stupid trade can ruin your entire month. But 100 hours on the sidelines won't cost you a single cent. So, here's a simple truth everyone knows, but few live by. Avoiding bad trades is more important than any winning trade. You see experienced traders, right? They don't brag about their winners all day. They talk about trades they walked away from, setups they didn't take, opportunities they knew weren't for them. Those acts of refusal are what saved them, not the pretty winners. You want to know the biggest difference between you and a professional trader? It's not knowledge. It's not tools. It's not IQ. It's the number of times they're willing to stand aside. An amateur feels uncomfortable after 10 minutes on the sidelines. A professional can stay flat for 10 days and still be calm. Ask yourself, if you had to wait 3 weeks just to take one trade, could you handle it? If you had to let 50 candles go by without pressing anything, could you handle it? If you saw others posting profits while you haven't taken a single trade, could you handle it? Most people can't, and that's why they stay on the losing side. But if you can, you've already stepped into another level. You know when I realized I had evolved as a trader? It was when I could watch the chart move without my heart jumping, when I saw price run hard and I no longer leapt up, trying to find a reason to jump in, when I realized the market wasn't pulling me anymore. I was the one choosing the timing, not the market. You might not be there yet, but you'll get there if you truly understand this. Controlling the market is impossible. Controlling yourself is mandatory. That's the entire core of trading. When you're new, you try to control the market. Predict force patterns. Force trades. Force the market to move your way. You already know how that ends. When you mature, you stop forcing the market. You let it do what it wants. You simply watch to see whether it matches your conditions. If it doesn't, you stay out. If it does, you go in hard and clean. But this leads to the most important lesson I want you to take from this whole message. You can only go in big if you've stayed out enough beforehand. If you trade randomly, if you keep losing on stupid trades when a real setup finally appears, you will either have no capital left, or have no confidence left, or go too small, or close too early out of fear, or fail to hold the target because you're already emotionally wounded. That's why the big winners, the account-changing trades are not for everyone. Not because others don't see them, but because they don't last long enough to be ready when they come. Like a man dying of thirst by the time he sees water, he no longer has the strength to reach for it. Good trades are not for those who've exhausted themselves with bad ones. Do you see this painful truth? You're not losing because you don't have winning trades. You're losing because you destroy your chance at the big winners before they even appear. The market doesn't need to knock you out with one big punch. It lets you cut yourself with 1,000 tiny blades, each one being a trade you never should have taken. Now, I want to ask you, and answer honestly to yourself. In a month, how many trades did you take that shouldn't have existed? 5, 10, 30? If you erased all of them, how different would your results be? Most traders, if they deleted all their stupid trades, would instantly become profitable. And that's why I keep stressing this. Folding weak hands is what makes you rich, not swinging big every time. You think professional traders are always busy? No, they fold way more than you can imagine. A good poker player folds 80–90% of hands. A good trader does the same. You fold to protect capital. You fold to protect your psychology. You fold to protect your sharpness. You fold to protect your expectations. And most importantly, you fold to save your strength for the real strike. The paradox is this. When you fold a lot, outsiders think you're scared. But when you finally enter, they realize you're not scared. You're precise. You don't fire randomly. You fire once and hit the heart. That's a real trader. People ask me, how come you trade so little but still make money? I answer, because I trade when the market allows me, not when my emotions demand it. Do you want to be a trader or a gambler? It all comes down to one word: wait. Now, I want to take you even deeper into something that, I believe, will change how you see the market forever. When you learn how to wait, you learn how to read the market. Because when you're no longer being pushed by emotion to find a trade, your eyes start seeing things they couldn't see before. You start noticing what real volume looks like, what fake volume looks like, where accumulation is, where distribution is, what a real breakout is, what a fake breakout is. You start seeing the market as a map of psychology, where people reveal their emotions through each candle. You start understanding flow. You start feeling momentum. You start sensing the breath of each instrument. None of that is visible when you're desperately hunting for a trade. A man drowning cannot admire the beauty of the water. A trader addicted to trading cannot hear what the market is really saying. When you free yourself from the need to do something, you free your eyes as well. And one day, you'll look at the chart and see something you never noticed before. Real setups don't shout. Real setups are quiet. They don't flash like neon signs screaming, "Buy now." They sit there calmly, like a door that is quietly opened for the ones who know how to look. And you'll realize the best setups tend to appear in calmness. That's when you understand an even deeper truth. Waiting isn't just discipline, it's how you learn to hear what the market is saying. You can't hear in the noise of emotions. You only hear when you're still. That's why I say, your mind trades before your hands do. If your mind is chaotic, your trades are chaotic. If your mind is fearful, your trades are shaky. If your mind is greedy, your trades are stupid. But if your mind is calm, your trades are sharp as a blade. I want you to imagine a perfect trading day, not a day where you make a fortune, a day where your emotions don't drag you around. You open the charts, nothing's there. You stay out. You're not annoyed, you're not restless, you don't feel inferior to anyone. You just observe. A setup appears, but it's not clean enough. You pass. No regret, no wondering, what if it runs? You know, if it runs, it still wasn't yours. A truly clean setup starts to form, you follow it. You take notes, you wait for confirmation, no forcing. Momentum comes, volume lines up, price breaks the level you've marked. Everything clicks like puzzle pieces falling into place. You enter, no trembling, you place your stop, no hesitation. You let the trade run, no panic. The market pulls back a bit, you remain calm. Because you know this is the right trade. Price pushes further. You watch. No screaming, no jumping, no shock. You just smile a little. Because you know you did your part. The rest is up to the market. And when you close the trade, whether it's a winner or not, you still feel at peace. No regret, no hurry, no tilt. That is trading. Not emotional highs, not adrenaline spikes, not, wow, I hit it big today. Real trading is the quiet confidence of knowing you're doing the right thing. Let me end with the most important part. Trading is not about beating the market. Trading is about beating yourself every day. Beating your greed, your fear, your addiction. Beating your ego, your rush, your need to prove yourself. And every time you stay out of a trade, you shouldn't take, you've won. Every time you fold a weak hand, you've won. Every time you wait until a real setup appears, you've won. And when you've won enough of those small battles, the market will reward you in the big war. Great traders don't make money by trading more. Great traders make money by choosing the right moments to trade and staying silent for all the others. The day you can truly do that is the day you step away from the crowd and into the small group who really extract profit from this market. And I believe if you've listened this far, you're someone who can do it.